Janelle was more than just my best friend. She was a person who basically changed my life for the better. She had the biggest impact. And I want to tell you guys everything about like my experience of knowing her. There's like so many things that I want to talk about, but I'm afraid I'm just going to get too worked up, especially, still taking in the fact that she's gone. But I'm going to really try, okay? We met sometime back in October of 2023. I remember I was at work and really she started off as my customer. And they're always playing like really, really good songs, like really good songs to just kind of jam to at work. And being that I was really into shuffle dance at the time, I still kind of am, even though I haven't been actively practicing. I started shuffling to the music, and she sees that, and she approaches me, and she starts doing it too. And it was like a moment of, oh, sweet, you can do that too? I know that one look at each other, we immediately connected. And like right then and there, we started talking. We learned that we both like EDM. We learned that we have mutual friends. Um, we exchanged contacts, like we got each other's Instagram pages, and yeah, we just kind of started from there. And I'm not gonna lie, even when like I was done helping her, even when she was leaving with all her groceries, before she left, she hugged me, just outright. She hugged me, and I thought that was like the greatest thing. And after that, I was just like, wow, our first meeting went really really well. I'd love to see her again. About 2 weeks later, Janelle asks me if I want her to go to this flow dance meet somewhere in Mesa, the Arizona area. Um, Now, before I agreed to go, I had to think for a second because that kind of stuff wasn't really like my forte. It was really outside of my comfort zone and something that, yeah, I don't really think to go to. I mean, I know about flow dance. I followed a few Twitch streamers who did flow dance, and they are also big into raves and stuff. And that's the thing with Janelle. She was really into raves and music shows at the time. That was like her happy place. And yeah, I kind of got into that stuff because of her too. Um, so I went. I went to that flow dance meet, and I got to meet some people who were trying all kinds of different flow instruments, like from batons to hoops to like rings, just juggling stuff. But then when Janelle showed up, she was actually super excited to see me. And in my head, I thought, wow, no other person has done this before. And now, before you start assuming, I didn't confess to her right away because I've been through enough failed relationships to know that it wasn't going to be like the right time to do so. And I will admit that I was actually starting to grow a crush like over time. But we hung out there and we talked and we were dancing and we were listening to music, and we just grew closer and closer every time. Then by the time I want to say December came around, um, she was seeing me at work often, and she was often happy to see me, and then we'd catch up. But during the times that we would get together, it was a lot of fun. Like by the time December came around, we hung out at the mall, and then a few weekends later, we go to the Phoenix Zoo lights, and that's when like we really grew closer. And I really, really wanted to keep building that relationship. I remember like before New Year's, I tried to arrange a get together for me and my friends, and only really two people showed up: my friend Misty Hearts Cosplay and Janelle. Just us playing video games together and chatting, and it was really the best way to end off 2023, the year where I was able to stand back up after everything I'd gone through that year. And then 2024 comes, and I decided to, actually confess to her how I was feeling. And that's when she started telling me more about herself as well as her backstory. I can't explain to you guys exactly what she started telling me, but it was something along the lines as she's been dealing with demons that only she knew how to fight. The whole time I've known her, she only knew how to face those demons that she described to me. And on top of that, her and her family were in a really rocky relationship. And the community that she was once part of at the time was kind of turning on her. And yeah, that whole thing wasn't pretty to see. She had basically felt that we were incompatible for a romantic relationship, which, we mutually talked it out, and we decided between us that we would just remain best friends. And that's all we were. We were just best friends. We had no intention on pursuing a romantic relationship. We wanted to be best friends, and we wanted to keep it that way. The more we hung out, the more we talked, the more that I realized I was basically her escape. I was basically her light, because she really didn't have anyone else to turn to at the time. At least she felt she didn't have anybody else. I was basically her pillar, her rock. And she was already struggling so much. And that's why it really breaks my heart to tell you guys that on August 13th, 2025, Janelle was found dead in Florence, Arizona. And it's still under investigation on how or why it happened. But the news was saying she was a victim of self-harm, if you know what I mean. The news was saying that she took her own life. And I didn't find out about it until days later. And I should mention that sometime during July, near the end of July, we had a bit of a disagreement about our living situations. And I was just kind of giving her the space to figure things out. I mean, our life was kind of going in different directions, and I was giving her space. We didn't talk for weeks, and I had to find out from my best friend, my other best friend, that she was gone. On that day, I found out about her passing. I had just survived like a really day. I had just gotten a new phone. As a matter of fact, I'm using this new phone, to record this. And I was told that all of my data had transferred from my old phone to my new one. But what they didn't tell me was that I would have to basically log into everything again, all over again. Not everything, but a few important things that I needed at the time. And that really pissed me off. So I needed my phone for various errands I had to run before I had to go to work. And I'm getting worked up just thinking about it. I'm sorry. Because of all that, I had to resort to desperate measures to get the cash and funds that I needed to run my errands. Because of this, I showed up to work 15 minutes late. Okay? 15 minutes. And it was a long, long, long day. And because I work at a grocery store, it was that week that the families were starting to go shopping for their kids, be it college or high school. Mostly the college kids, because they were doing their shopping for their kids before they were going to move into the dorms. It was kind of like the college dorm week for the university students. At the end of the day, I had to go meet a friend who was basically selling me a Pikachu backpack. Yeah, this thing right here. These don't come cheap, but I bought it off of them for like $50, which is, you gotta admit, it's quite a deal. For how small these backpacks are, it doesn't come cheap, and it is Pokemon, so that's another thing. After all was said and done, I had gotten a call from another best friend of mine to break the news. I was asked to sit down, and I was asked if I was mentally ready to hear some bad news. And they basically put it simply, Janelle's gone. She's dead. And I was already so infuriated and just pissed off at everything that happened throughout the whole damn day. I couldn't get angry. I couldn't yell. I couldn't scream. I couldn't cry. I couldn't even rant. I just had this feeling. I was just feeling just numb, I was just so numb. And then as it sunk in, I'm just like, well, maybe she's been fighting this battle for too long and she lost. As I said earlier, she was facing demons that only she could understand. She had scars that were left by past trauma that she kept locked away. And the more we got to know each other, she would just give me glimpses of what she went through, but unfortunately, no matter how much she tried to describe it to me, I could never quite get a full picture. I was just being her support. I was just being her rock, but I just couldn't quite get a full picture of what she went through. But what I will say is that she really, really tried her best to move on, to move forward. She tried to take her own mental health and well-being into her own hands. She tried taking the necessary actions, the necessary steps forward of healing, both physically and mentally. She was on her own healing journey, and she took it very seriously. And I helped her throughout that journey. I was there for her a lot. But she was a very happy-go-lucky person. You know, whenever she was around me, she was just so happy. But when it was just her, she was just in a very dark place. And, like, that's what sucks. Whenever she would see me at work, she had, like, the biggest smile. Like, her smile just lit up the entire room. Her joy just kind of radiated throughout the entire place. And I didn't just feel it, everybody felt it. They knew how special of a friend she was to me. Even my own boss saw it. No other person has done that to me in my entire life. You know? Janelle really was one in a million. She made me feel loved in a way that no other person outside of my own family or even friends did. I was everything to her. She even said it herself. I was the best friend she ever had. I was the bestest friend ever. She would tell me that phrase a lot. She allowed me to be like the gamer, the nerd, the cosplayer, just everything that is basically, you know, hobbies that I'm really well known for now. She allowed me to be like that. She allowed me to be me. I think the greatest memory that I have of us is when I came back from California sometime back in March of 2024. And I was so tired, I was so exhausted from, you know, such a fun trip, but it was a long drive. And she invites me to this music show at this arcade bar. And I went. I wanted to be there for her because we were supposed to meet in California, but we never got to. But that's besides the point. She picked me up from my apartment, and she was so excited, like she couldn't wait. And I remember we got inside, you know, she had purchased tickets for the both of us, and we had a good time. We listened to a lot of trance, and it was mainly a show by Craig Connolly. If you guys don't know who Craig Connolly is, look into him. He's got really, really good stuff. If you like trance, he's got some really good trance songs. My favorite one is Be As One. I remember at the end of that show, Janelle was jumping around, she was hopping around, she looked like a child, but she was so happy, she was so overwhelmed with joy. And when we walked out, she was so overwhelmed with joy that she started crying. And I sometimes don't know how to like properly comfort people, especially my own friends, whenever they're like crying. So I just kind of gave her the option, like, you know, if you need a shoulder to cry on, you know, I'm right here. And she did. She cried on my shoulders. I remember hugging her for like, it felt like 5 minutes. And she was crying. I told her, you know, let it all out. And she did. And then she started saying these words to me. And I remember them very well because she emphasized them in a really, really, really like strong way, in a genuine way. She told me, you know, I love you. You're the bestest friend ever. You saved my life. Thank you for being such an amazing friend. I need you. I've been through hell. I needed this. I've never felt so happy. I remember those words so much because like she has to have been crying for like, I want to say half an hour. She spent the whole half an hour just crying and letting it all out. And I was worried that she was going to pass out from exhaustion. So I had to hold on to her. And like, it was such a good feeling though. I made somebody so happy they could cry by just simply being there for them, being a friend. And that's what made me want to to cherish our friendship and make sure that we always stayed friends, that nothing could come between us, nothing could hurt us. That was like the best memory I had with her because it was so impactful. So after that night, I was basically like, maybe I should start introducing her to my world. She can play video games with me. She can watch anime with me. I actually got her into an anime. I chose Spy Family, and I remember I had her watch the first episode with me, and she loved it. She immediately started feeling a connection to Anya, the adopted telepath daughter of the show, and we often got together to watch Spy Family together. And just seeing her reactions to the show was a lot of fun, and I started to like the show a lot more too. And that's also the reason why my Lloyd Forger cosplay happened. For those who didn't see it, here you go. But anyways, I introduced her to my friends, and I invited her to my birthday get-together that I had with my best friends. And it was so... They welcomed her in. They welcomed her into our little circle, and I'm really glad that she got to meet my friends, because, like, it was so special. It was such a special moment. She was a very interesting person, to say the least. Like, at the same time, though, she was a friend that I always looked forward to talking to and hanging out with. Like I said, she made me feel loved and valued like no other person has in my life. However, she was also very moody. Like she had moments of lashing out at people who crossed her boundaries, and, myself included. I will admit, I did mess up a few times around her. And I just can't forgive myself for that matter either. She had this very strong side of her that was sometimes a little bit off-putting. Even during the time of knowing her, there were times where I would walk away and often question that, is she mad at me, or is she just mad at something or someone else? Should I be offended? It was that personality that would often get her in trouble too. It would often get her in trouble with her family and just people who weren't really familiar with that side of her. And to all those people who saw that side of her, I am very, very sorry. That side of her wasn't easy to deal with in the slightest. There were like those people who didn't really understand the way she processed the world. She kind of handled social situations differently. Okay, she just had these dark periods where she would just take her frustrations out on everyone, and mostly on social media. She often had like these numerously long social media posts about how like people were bullying her and how she was standing up for what's right, and basically calling out misogyny. She was just socially unsure. Her behavior just wasn't perceived very well by many people, and I'm so sorry that like so few of you got to see the real Janelle. The true Janelle. Janelle as she really was. The one who would give me a hug at the very side of me. The one who took pride in her beliefs that love and positivity can really make a difference. Okay, she was a strong believer that love heals, not hurts. Love can save the world. Love can save a life. That's what she stood for. That was the true Janelle. When she was unburdened by her trauma, when her soul would just light up, and she was so incredibly happy, and her smile would just light up the entire room. Her love, her compassion was felt by all. She told me that she believed that she was what they called a starseed, and that it was her goal to help humanity, no, the world, discover their true selves and reach a higher spiritual level, whatever that meant. But it was most likely, for a good cause. And she couldn't wait to give back. to help others, inspire others, and truly embrace being alive and well. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Janelle survived falling off a cliff when she was hiking out in the Flagstaff, Sedona area. And I'm sure you guys saw it on the news. You know, it was all over the place. And people even asked me, is that the same Janelle who's your best friend? Yeah, of course, that was her. And even I was there to help assist in her rescue and her search. It was a miracle that she even survived that fall. And she was out camping and she was just trying to get out, and trying to start her healing journey. But she slipped when it was dark and she fell just quite a ways down, and there was a brush that broke her fall. Like, that fall could have been fatal. She could have died right then and there. But no, she survived. She was given a second chance. And she was stranded down there for almost 3 days. And I remember, I'm remembering how she told me, on the third day, she started feeling her tongue getting dry. She was starting to feel dehydrated. She was feeling very weak. She thought that was it for her, but then she saw people just kind of coming down from like ropes. And then that's when she called over to them and they rescued her. And they were treating her injuries, and then they had to get her out from that steep canyon. And it was a very, very difficult task for the rescue team. And they were able to get her out, and they were able to transport her to a nearby hospital. And we were both so eager to share our story after she returned home. But unfortunately, I'm the only one who can tell the story. Still, during that time she was down there, stranded and all alone, I was really afraid. I'd lost her for good. I cannot tell you how relieved I was that she was found alive and safe in the end. And now she's really gone. If I were to tell her something right now, I would tell her she did it. She had achieved that goal, okay? Her survival story alone was very inspiring, okay? It was inspiring to even that of my friends. She was the strongest and most lucky person I've ever known in my life. So I hope that at some point, deep, deep down, she knew the impact she had on not just my life, but others' lives as well. And my one regret is that I never took the opportunity to tell her how proud I was of her. And that she was still achieving her goal, even during her recovery. Her arm was broken, but she was alive and well. It takes a while for a broken arm to heal up, but I hope that she saw what I saw, and that she was the sweetest human being from day one until the day that we lost her. Also, I just want to address, I'm not going to apologize for all the time that I've been not making any new videos, because my head was just kind of gravitating towards how important our friendship was and how much I wanted our friendship to stay alive. How it could be better, what can we do to work things out more, what could I have done, what could I have said, what should I have not done, what should I have not said, all that. But I'm here to tell you guys, okay? Just please, don't be afraid to reach out, okay? Do not be afraid to reach out. That alone is being strong. Okay, and being vulnerable and emotional is not a sign of weakness. Okay, it just means that you've been strong for far too long. I know myself, okay? Also, take the time to tell those around you how much you appreciate and love them, how proud you are of them. No matter how weird or odd a person may be, or how odd they may seem in how they handle social situations, like how Janelle was, compliment them, okay? Give them compliments. It will be impactful no matter what, okay? It will stick with them for a while. And any way you take it, Janelle's loss is a tragedy. Anyone losing their life like this is a tragedy. She was my best friend. She consistently told me how much she appreciated and loved me, second to my family and I. But I just hope that through this tragic loss, there can be some good to come out of it. I hope that all that I said in this video and the conversations that may ensue after this video is posted start to come out of it. Okay? I hope that it starts to break the stigmas around mental health. Subjects like depression, anxiety, suicide, and most importantly, please know that you are loved, okay? And you matter. Even if the rest of society tells you otherwise, you can make your own light in this darkness. You are not alone, okay? You are not alone. You don't have to carry the burden all by yourself. Never feel like you have to go through this alone. I know I felt this way before countless times. As a matter of fact, even though I didn't want to at first, I've actually started talking to my family and friends about this matter. And I felt this way before back in 2020. You know what I went through in 2020. I'm pretty sure a lot of us went through something similar back in that year. I just wanted it all to end. I just wanted the pain to just go away, just outright. But I didn't know how to, so I actually tried reaching out to people. And, you know, it kind of worked. So many people came together and they were my support. They stayed up with me even though I was anxious to sleep. You guys can do the same thing. Find those people that will be with you in your anxious moments. I'm going to keep talking, keep conversations going, and you guys do the same thing. It's the single most important thing in these situations. You have to be the voice that rights the wrongs. I need you guys to listen to me, okay? I need you to open your eyes, open your ears, just open everything and hear me out. Listen closely. I know that a lot of you that I met at conventions, cosplay meetups, gaming tournaments, you know, just all that stuff. I know a lot of you have went through struggles just like ours, just like mine, just like Janelle's. And I know there's a couple of people who are also dealing with depression and anxiety and, yes, thoughts of self-harm. And I know that just seeing each other again at these types of things helped bring you through the darkest of times. It sure as hell helped me through those tough times. And I already told you guys what I'd gone through. This community means everything to me, okay? You guys inspired me, and most importantly, you all saved my life, okay? You saved my life. You saved me from potentially sabotaging my life even further. But no matter what you go through, you know, be it a breakup, being let go from a job, or loss of a family member or friend, just whatever brings you down and makes those, you know, those dark thoughts begin to just kind of take over your mind. That alone is the biggest thing. We gave each other hope to continue on, all right? And I learned that I wasn't alone. We all process things differently, and that's okay. And I also recognize that we have to fight these battles almost every day. I have to fight these battles constantly. I have to win every time. Janelle fought that battle for a long time, even before I met her. Yeah, she won for a lot of days, but all it takes is one loss. Just one loss. You only live once, and that one loss means it's, well, game over. So take it from me. Don't feel ashamed, okay? Don't feel ashamed to have your voice be heard, your story be heard. Let everyone who's ready and eager to hear you and hear your story full on. I encourage every single one of you to be more thoughtful. supporting, loving, caring, and most importantly, understanding. We can unite as people. We can create a world without war. Even in a world where social media and just society as a whole is constantly tearing each other down and constantly going at it with each other. No matter how much more scary this world is going to get, and how actively scary it's getting right now in this day and age, let's remember that there's still some positive to be found. That it can unite people. That it can give people who feel like no one will ever listen to them someone who's there to just be all ears. Again, I must stress, go seek help, okay? There are a lot of services out there that can help you. And I'll provide some links to some good ones in my video description. But also, you can look up services online. I guarantee there is something out there that can help you. I definitely found mine during the time I moved to this new place. Anywho, there's going to be a lot more content to come both on this channel and on my socials when it comes to honoring Janelle. And I worked really, really hard to put all of this together in her honor, and I hope she's watching over me and smiling. That's all I can really say right now. In her memory, check out my channel, my Instagram, and even hers. Lastly, you can honor her memory by writing on her obituary. I'll also provide a link to that too. You can honor her by living, as well as living openly and honestly with each other. I miss you, Janelle. I miss you. I'll miss you and your silliness. Whenever we would watch anime, comedies, movies, and play games together. I'll remember how you loved me so strongly that it actually gave me hope. It gave me a reason to want to keep living. Rest easy, Janelle. Your bestest friend in the entire universe. Super Bro Alex. I love you. I love you guys so much, and thank you all for reaching out to me, for all those who commented on my Instagram, Facebook posts, announcing what happened. Thank you all so much. I definitely felt the love and warmth. May her soul rest in peace, and may I carry on her legacy and her memory.